claimed he cut me off, but he was catching Uber. I went to my hotel last night at 4 o'clock this morning, was getting on my nerves tonight. Says like 3, 4 for him to sit in this courtroom and got a girlfriend.
She paid for both of my Ubers?
No, I did not. He paid.
Police just ran our name. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant. So I gave them my name proud, like, come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adam got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
I'm just thinking that I know for a fact, just say my kid.
How do you know? That don't prove nothing because who I slept with, that don't mean nothing. I used a condom, so there is no other option to cheat.
But you was sleeping around though.
I wasn't sleeping around.
In a dramatic turn of events, Ms. King steps up and claims that Mr. Porter is the biological father of their 3-year-old son, Kalen. She declares that his denial has wrecked their relationship, emphasizing the importance of today's results to clear the air and possibly mend their bond. Grab your popcorn, the courtroom drama is just heating up.
Ms. King, you are here to prove again, off again, boyfriend Mr. Porter, that your 3-year-old son, Kyle, is his biological child. You say his denial has destroyed your relationship and you need today's results set the record straightest.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here comes the curveball. Ms. King shockingly admits she faked being pregnant initially to win back Mr. Porter after their split, hoping to reignite the extinguished flames of their past romance. This bombshell revelation sends ripples through the courtroom audience. You won't believe what's coming next. Stay tuned.
And then what happens when you find out you're pregnant, Ms. King?
Told him that I was pregnant, but I really wasn't pregnant.
Ms. King admits she lied and said she's pregnant. What happened?
At the time, she told me she was pregnant. So I decided, because I didn't have my father in my life, I decided I'm gonna step up to the plate regardless. I was there throughout the whole everything.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more tangled, Ms. King drops another stunner. During the time she planned to come clean about her faux pregnancy, she actually finds herself pregnant for real. This twist not only adds a layer of irony, complicates the narrative further, showcasing her initial deceit followed by a true pregnancy. Buckle up, the roller coaster of revelations isn't over yet.
During that time that I wasn't pregnant, I actually found out that I was pregnant.
Because you was really trying to get pregnant because you knew you had lied. You worked real hard at that.
Yeah.
Because you had already lied.
How you pregnant?
But you didn't even know I was lying about my pregnancy until recently. I just came out clear and told you I even lied about being pregnant.
But you did let him know that you lied. Lie, that erodes trust.
As the plot thickens, Ms. King faces tough questioning about the possibility of other potential fathers given her earlier deception and the timeline of her pregnancy. She stoutly denies informing anyone else that they could be the father, insisting Mr. Porter is the sole candidate. What happens next will have you on the edge of your seat.
Did you ever tell any other man they potentially could be the father?
No, George was the only person that I was sleeping around that I got pregnant.
Like the whole time when she was pregnant, like in the hospital, you know, giving birth to her, it was like, you could say drain, you know, so she went to sleep, her phone started to go off. You know, I'm a curious guy, something like that. I'm like, why am I
curious George?
You'll get a kick out of this. Ms. King, in an attempt to solidify her claim, presents a height chart in court, arguing that Mr. Porter must be the father because both are notably short, suggesting a genetic link to their son's stature. This piece of evidence is met with skepticism, as it's a shaky argument at best. The courtroom is about to be shaken up with the actual truth. Get ready.
Proof that he's the father. My son is actually a little vertically challenged. I have a chart that I created. Would you like me to show it to you? As you can see, the average male is at 5'9". George is 5'2". Each time that I take my son to the doctor to get his wellness check, he's actually falls between the lower 3 foot 5 inches. My son is 3 feet. Me and George both are short, so it's guaranteed that my son is going to be short.
And now, the grand finale. The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Porter, you are the father.
So here's a wild start. Ms. Phillips kicks things off by filing a case against Mr. Polk to prove he's the father of her 1-month-old daughter, Promise. After a thumbs up on the pregnancy, Mr. Polk has ghosted since the baby was born. Ms. Phillips is here, not just to talk, but to get some real answers about paternity and responsibilities.
Ms. Phillips, you've opened your case today to prove to Mr. Polk that he is the father of your 1-month-old daughter, Promise. You say after Mr. Polk's initial acceptance of the pregnancy, he has been MIA since your daughter's birth.
Yes, ma'am.
And the plot thickens. They delve into how their relationship started. It's a social media saga, fueled by past connections and a bit of spite. A simple friend request spirals into a full-blown relationship mess.
When she posted him, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go snatch him up. So I had some little friend requests with him. He started liking my pictures and inboxing me. He blowing my little inbox up.
She inboxed me first.
No, that's not
That's
true.
how I did.
So basically, you met through social media. You all ended up getting together, having sex, starting a relationship.
I was actually in a relationship, so it really wasn't that serious. I just wanted.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Ms. Phillips confronts Mr. Polk with a barrage of texts where he's apparently all in on having a baby with her, which he's now outright denying. She's not just upset, she's armed with receipts. Don't go anywhere. It escalates quickly.
We was texting every day. He was telling me he wanted me to have his baby. Yeah, I got text messages. For 2 years, he told me he wanted me to have his baby. Then I get pregnant, he wanted to deny my girl.
Were you saying you wanted her to have your baby, Mr. Polk?
No, ma'am.
He was saying that for 2 years.
Probably a couple times.
You said a couple times. Well, let me tell you now, this is a flash for you. It only takes one.
Next up, some serious tea gets spilled. Ms. Phillips accuses Mr. Polk of ditching protection, contrary to his earlier claims. This points to a deeper trust issue and throws a wrench in Mr. Polk's story.
I know you don't believe here, because let me tell you, he don't like condoms. He don't like protection. He don't use protection.
So you say you weren't protected?
No.
Tell me the story.
Never.
The first time you got together, when was that?
It was back in June in 2007.
That wasn't the first time. It was like July 4th.
Did you have sex first time you all got together, or did you go on dates?
I'm talking about straight to it.
Here's a twist you didn't see coming. Ms. Phillips drops a bombshell about getting a tattoo that reads property of Mr. Polk's name. It was meant to be a matching set, but Mr. Polk bailed on returning the gesture. As this tattoo saga unfolds, keep your eyes peeled for the next move.
Everything, because BJ was telling me, oh, if you went with him, we'll be there. I want you to have my baby. I want to be family with you. All that good stuff.
Fell for that okie.
Yeah, so I left my man. Got his name tatted on me.
Yeah, she did that. And that
I got a tattoo of his name on you?
It says property of in his name. He supposed to got my name tattooed on him, but he didn't. Because he's a compulsive liar. And he's a deadbeat, period.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Amidst the court drama, Ms. Phillips reveals that their relationship didn't pause for the courtroom. They've been continuing their encounters, complicating everything to another level.
And he trying to claim he cut me off, but he was catching ooh. I went to my hotel last night at 4 o'clock this morning, was getting on my nerves tonight. Says like 3 4 for him to sit in this courtroom and got a girlfriend.
She paid for both of my Ubers.
No, I did not. He paid. Your Honor, he's lying.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Mr. Polk throws in a curveball by claiming Ms. Phillips admitted to sleeping with someone else during the crucial conception period, which she awkwardly semi-confirms.
She did tell me she slept with someone else.
I did.
That's what I want to understand. Do you have doubt, Mr. Polk? You say she told you, Ms. Phillips told you slept with somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the court.
She said, BJ, I slept with someone else. Just like that. He said it's me real good. Just like
when did this just come out?
Your Honor, no. Let me say.
Get ready for some clarity, or not. The judge crunches some conception dates, and Mr. Polk is smack in the middle of the probable father window. But there's also another potential dad lurking in the possible time frame.
When was Promise born?
She was born on March the 15th, but my due date was March the 22nd.
So let's calculate. Probable conception dates are between June 27th and July 1st. Possible conception dates are between June 26th and July 6th.
Look at that one.
And here comes the big reveal, folks.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Polk, you are the father.
Strap in. It's a wild ride from here. The case kicks off with Mr. Adams' mother, claiming her son is teetering on the brink of jail for unpaid child support. They're in court to debunk the claim that he's the father of a 3-year-old, aiming to keep him out of the slammer.
You claim he's on the verge of being arrested for back child support, and you're both with us to prove he's not father of the defendant's 3-year-old son in an effort to keep him out of jail.
Guess what's brewing? Ms. Adams lays out their dire situation with the urgency of a ticking time bomb. Her son could be nabbed by the cops any second for not paying child support, even though he questions his paternity.
Your Honor, my son is now facing jail because of this situation.
You're concerned that he could be arrested for failure to pay child support for a child that have doubts is even his child.
True, Your Honor.
It's getting spicy now. Mr. Adams throws shade, saying he and Ms. Williams were never an item, just a brief fling that, in his view, already says a lot about her. It's essential context because, well, the whole paternity question hinges on it.
First date, so that was a judge character right there.
You weren't in a committed relationship.
No, Your Honor.
When you met Mr. Adams, did you intend this to be a committed relationship?
Young at the time, be hooked on and off.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Ms. Williams drops a bombshell. She was playing the field back then, which pretty much lends credence to all the paternity doubts Mr. Adams has been harping about.
During that time, were you also sleeping with other men as well?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Without using protection?
Yes, it's a possibility. I never said, oh, you are the father or you gonna take care of this baby.
For child support, for a child everybody agreed may or may not be his.
You thought that was juicy? Ms. Williams spins a new twist in the tale, admitting she initially tagged her ex as the daddy and didn't even consider Mr. Adams until the ex was ruled out by DNA.
No, I didn't.
You thought it was your ex, mine too, and you all went the whole process, but then you had a test, it was not your ex. So immediately then you said,
I located him and I told him it's possibility you may be the father of John.
No way, there's more. Amid the chaos, Mr. Adams is sticking to his guns, suspecting there might be other potential dads who've been in the mix. This throws another layer of doubt over the already murky paternity waters.
Well, actually, Your Honor, I I feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence you have to suggest that?
Talked to Miss Williams, and that Miss Williams stated that she has tested as well.
That was my ex I had tested. There were no other guys.
Cue the facepalm moment. The reason Mr. Adams missed his DNA test? A hangover. Yep, you heard right. This isn't just a hiccup. It's a face-first dive into legal hot water, including a default paternity declaration and a child support nightmare.
Couldn't go. I was hungover. I'm not gonna lie, you know, he was hungover. All the other times that we scheduled dates, she was not probably off partying or anything, Your Honor.
But I don't know how you lay up talking about you hungover.
And then reality hits hard. Mr. Adams details his surprise arrest for unpaid child support, a stark reminder of how quickly things can spiral when paternity and legal responsibilities are in limbo. Don't go anywhere. The drama escalates.
Cigarettes, police just ran our name. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant, so I gave them my name proud, like, come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams. And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
And how much time did you serve for this?
Like 10 days.
Finally, the moment of truth. No, really this time.
That Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Buckle up for this roller coaster. Miss Renfro kicks things off with a bombshell, claiming with no shadow of a doubt that Mr. Tuesday is the father of her son Kendall, who battles a grave genetic health issue. She underlines just how crucial the paternity results are for her child's medical future. Meanwhile, Mr. Tuesday stands firm on his belief that he is not the father, eagerly awaiting the results to clear his name.
Ms. Renfro, you claim you are 100% certain that the defendant is the father of your 6-month-old son, Kendall. You say Kendall was born with a serious medical condition and believe it was genetic passed down by the defendant. And that's why today's paternity results are critical.
Yes, Your Honor.
The drama intensifies. Miss Renfro slams Mr. Tuesday for shirking financial responsibilities and not being present during critical moments of her pregnancy and Kendall's medical procedure. In a twist, Mr. Tuesday concedes to visiting just once, casting doubts about his paternity based on the baby's looks, claiming the child bears no resemblance to him.
So, Ms. Renfro, why do you believe Mr. Tuesday is denying paternity?
He don't want to take financial responsibility. He hasn't been there. He was there through my pregnancy. When I had the baby, for his surgery, he wasn't there. I contacted him, tried to let him know, and there was still nothing, no response, no.
So you're saying, Ms. Renfro, that Mr. Tuesday has shown any concern about...
He's never even seen my...
Did that just happen? As we delve deeper, we learn about the casual fling between Miss Renfro and Mr. Tuesday that got serious around her pregnancy announcement. Miss Renfro spills the beans on taking 7 pregnancy tests and how Mr. Tuesday ghosted her thereafter.
Give me the nature of this relationship, Ms. Renfro.
Yeah, we started out friends, like we met through mutual friends, and it was sexual, and we talked about being in a relationship, and then found out I was pregnant. I took 7 pregnancy tests.
And at that point, you say Mr. Tuesday just backed off.
Yeah, there was no contact after that. He ignored my calls, text messages. He didn't say nothing. He was like, well, who's the dad?
Hold on to your seats, folks. Miss Renfro lays out the gravity of Kendall's health issues, explaining his diagnosis with Hirschsprung's disease, which she suspects is genetically transmitted by Mr. Tuesday. She recounts the intense surgeries Kendall endured right after his birth, spotlighting the genetic stakes at play. Keep watching. The reaction to this revelation is a must-see.
My son has a issue with his stomach. He was born with what you call Hirschsprung's disease, and it's through genetics. None of my other kids have it. I had sex with him. I got pregnant, and my son had to have surgery at 6 days old.
See, Your Honor, I don't have any type of medical...
But it can be passed through your mom, your dad. It could be down the road from anybody in your family. It don't have to be necessarily from you.
The plot thickens. An emotional Miss Renfro emphasizes the dire need for Mr. Tuesday to step up owing to Kendall's health complications. She clears the air about any other potential fathers during the conception period, reinforcing her selective intimacy. The courtroom is on edge, and what comes next is jaw-dropping.
My son deserves to know who his dad is because of the issues he has with his health, responsibility for his child. I'm 100% sure. I know who my kids belong. Lay down with everybody. I don't sleep with everybody unprotected, and when I have sex with people...
Then why would you have another guy signing a birth certificate?
The tension is palpable. Miss Renfro details the struggles of single motherhood, particularly managing Kendall's frequent medical crises alone. She vents her frustration over Mr. Tuesday's uncooperative stance, complicating the gathering of a full medical history for Kendall. Fasten your seatbelts. The ensuing testimony throws everything into question.
Without the man you say is biological father, and go through all of... When you're having a medical issue, everybody knows first thing they ask you is your family history. So how has this been for the last...
It's full. It's hard. My son has to see a surgeon twice a month. He's in and out of the hospital with infections in his intestines, and my son deserves to know who dad is.
You can cut the tension kitchen with a knife. Kristen, a friend of Miss Renfro, steps up, hinting at another potential father around the conception timeframe, casting a shadow of doubt over Miss Renfro's previous assertions. The courtroom is buzzing, and the implications of this testimony are about to turn heads.
State your name for the court.
I'm Kristen.
What relationship are you to Miss Renfro?
This is my best friend. I've known her for like 10 years. Tells me everything. Well, like Danielle said, that's his dad. I believe her. I believe she's a lie. You know, if there was a possibility, I think she would tell me about it. Mr. Tuesday, he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's doing this purposely because, you know, like he said, she was texting whatever, you know, texting a guy.
This is where it gets really spicy. Reflecting on the recent bombshells, Mr. Tuesday doubles down on his denial, shaped by past false paternity claims. He debates the possibility that he's not the father, given the fresh doubts aired. The judge is about to drop a truth bomb that will rock the courtroom.
I'm just thinking that I know for a fact, just say my kid.
How do you know? That don't prove nothing because who I slept with, that don't mean nothing. I used a condom, so there is no other option to cheat.
But you were sleeping around though.
I wasn't sleeping around. If we wasn't together, it don't matter who I was sleeping with.
Miss Renfro, it does matter though.
Here comes a curveball.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Tuesday, you are not father.
Yes!
Oops.
Told you!
Oops.
Buckle up for a wild ride from the get-go. Miss McDowell kicks things off by staunchly asserting that her 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is undeniably her husband's child. She's all in, claiming the conception timeline syncs perfectly with their encounters. On the flip side, Mr. McDowell throws major shade, labeling his wife a cheater and pointing fingers at Mr. Alfred, the new guy, as the likely dad. He's itching to bolt from the marriage if the DNA test shows Annabelle isn't his.
Ms. McDowell, you say you have no doubt 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is your husband's biological child because you claim you only had sex with Mr. McDowell the window of conception. Mr. McDowell, you say you're nothing but a cheater and you believe the man she left for, Mr. Alfred, is in fact Annabelle's father. Say that once the DNA proves the child is not yours, you want out of this marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Strap in for some soap opera level revelations from Mr. McDowell. He's playing the single dad card hard, juggling their other kids and coping with his wife's alleged escapades. He recounts a tale of deception where Miss McDowell fibbed about crashing at a friend's place, only for him to learn she was cozying up with another man.
The children we have lost their mother, a single father at the moment. I'm taking care of them by myself. It all went down like she just one day told me she was going to go to her friend, a female friend's house in a few hours.
That's not true.
And then she called me later that night that she was going to end up spending the night. Well, the next day, the friend she went go spend the night with, she walked into the home, called her, Miss McDowell, her boyfriend, on the couch cuddling.
Grab your popcorn for this bombshell of a calendar expose. Miss McDowell lays down the law with a calendar marked with intimate dates, trying to pin down the father based on her tryst with Mr. McDowell and Mr. Alfred. She's all about proving Mr. McDowell's paternity during what she calls the critical conception window, despite her romantic rendezvous with others.
I have proof here that yes, I did. We had sex on the 27th, and also I had sex with Mr. Alfred on the 9th and the 10th of November. And then I also have, from what my midwife told me, my conceiving week, and that's the week I had sex with Mr. McDowell.
It shows on 27th of October, you were intimate with your husband.
Things just got real personal. Enter stage left, Mr. McDowell's mom, Miss Combs, who's none too pleased with the ongoing drama. She spills the beans on reluctantly supporting Miss McDowell through her pregnancy while doubting the whole grandchild narrative. Her frustration is palpable, painting a picture of manipulation and financial exploitation.
Well, it's not my grandchild.
May I say one more thing? We had a court scheduled I was walking down the hallway, I was running late for court. She did not know where I was. I tucked in behind the corner to where no one could see me, that she knew the child wasn't mine and that she was.
He asked me if why does Mr. McDowell's child?
You won't believe what comes next. Mr. Alfred steps into the fray, stirring the pot by questioning his own potential paternity and suggesting another mystery man might be in the running. His candid revelations add layers to the already tangled narrative, suggesting nothing is as simple as it seems. As the court digests his bombshells, the emotional roller coaster is far from over. Next up, heartstrings will be tugged.
Do you believe your baby Annabelle biological father?
Personally, believe me or Michael, either one or the father. I think it might be the gentleman that she was with before she tried to work things out with Mike.
What's interesting here is you say the baby's your husband. Husband says the baby's your love, and your lover says the baby by another.
The emotional stakes are sky high as the curtain rises on this act. As the case winds down, Miss McDowell and Mr. Alfred make their final, impassioned pleas, reflecting on their fraught relationship, the uncertain future of little Annabelle. They lay bare their hopes and fears, setting the stage for a climax filled with potential heartbreak or relief.
I have custody
the first
of the
5 months
prior
of her pregnancy,
3 kids.
she believed that it was Mr. McDowell's up until the 6th month. She tried to claim that it was mine. I personally believe she was trying to see who would take her in and support
Who would give her the most?
Like I said, I don't believe the baby's mine. I hope the results are different because, like I said, we are in a relationship together.
So you want the child to be yours, but you don't believe the child is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
And now, the moment we've all been on the edge of our receipts for.
Mr. McDowell or Mr. Alfred is the biological father. Mr. Alfred, you are her father.
Thank God.
Miss Dallas brings Mr. Stewart to court to establish paternity for her 1-month-old son, Lamar. She is utterly gobsmacked Mr. Stewart is denying paternity, especially given his shady behavior, which suggests he's been leading a double life. Miss Dallas is adamant that it's actually Mr. Stewart who's been playing games, not her.
Miss Dallas, you have dragged Mr. Stewart into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad, especially since you discovered he's the one a double life.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Stewart counters Miss Dallas's claim, suggesting her possibly dubious fidelity has made the paternity of baby Lamar a big question mark. Miss Dallas takes us back to the start of their relationship, from a serendipitous breakfast encounter to a secretive affair shrouded by Mr. Stewart's marital status kept under wraps.
Mr. Stewart, you claim that it's Miss Dallas been far from faithful, and you believe that baby Lamar's dad any one of multiple men. So Miss Dallas, take us to your relationship before you found out about Mr. Stewart's alleged double life.
Cedric with Mr. Stewart, June of 2016, out having breakfast with my friend, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. He walked up to me.
The confrontation heats up as Miss Dallas questions Mr. Stewart about why he hid his marital status during their initial dating phase. Mr. Stewart admits he misled her, keeping his marriage a secret until she pressed him for answers, claiming they were separated and almost divorced.
I'm like, you got a girlfriend? He like, no. I'm like, you have a baby mom there? He like, no. You got a wife? And then he was like, yeah. So he proceeded to tell me like, oh, they are separated, they going through a divorce.
Date her casually, have sex with her, and finally, only later tell her that you were married?
It didn't quite go like that.
How did it go?
You know, it didn't come up.
Mr. Stewart spills the beans about pretending to be single and fesses up to being married without pursuing a divorce as he had implied. This bombshell forces Miss Dallas to reflect on how his dishonesty has affected their relationship and her decision to stay with him even after discovering the truth.
So you were out there acting like a single man, but you were married?
Yes.
Were you getting a divorce then?
I wasn't in, I didn't have it filed, but in my head, yeah, I was getting a divorce.
In your head. That means you were still married?
Yeah.
How often did you see one another? If you're married with your wife at home?
Oh, that's it, every day.
Come over there when he get off work. Only time he probably house and when he went to go change his clothes or put on his work clothes.
Tensions escalate with the pregnancy bombshell as Miss Dallas, now fully aware of Mr. Stewart's marital status, grapples with her emotions and the whirlwind of promises he continues to make. She chooses to stick with Mr. Stewart, swayed by his vows despite the complex web of their situation.
Yes, I did have second thoughts, but once things started hitting more, like I was already pregnant. And I love Cedric, you know. He was telling me like, I'm gonna do the divorce, we're gonna have a house, you know, all this, we're gonna raise our son together. I was believing him because that's to do was believe him, you know.
So he had you high on promises and drunk off the dream.
The conversation turns to Mr. Stewart's initial joy about the pregnancy, which soon morphs into doubt amid whispers of Miss Dallas's alleged infidelities. External meddling and scandalous photos sent by a supposed friend throw even more shade on Miss Dallas's loyalty.
We have no kids.
But you have 3 children from a previous relationship. How long have you been married?
10 years.
Start beginning doubt, so-called my shit was telling him and his wife been around with 2 men when I conceived Lamar. But it was the same friend that sent him get pictures of herself to telling him that I was sleeping around with somebody else. So why wouldn't she want to sleep with you?
Miss Stewart, Mr. Stewart's wife, joins the courtroom, shedding light on her view of the timeline and nature of her husband's affair with Miss Dallas. She confronts the tales spun in court and expresses her own heartache and frustration with both her husband and Miss Dallas.
This testimony is troubling.
Very troubling, and it was not true.
What part of the testimony?
How they met. Cedric met her online.
And so you believe he was actually looking for a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but...
Do you believe Miss Dallas knew married from the beginning?
I wouldn't say from the beginning, but she very, very early.
In the midst of the paternity debate, we discover that Mr. Stewart and Miss Dallas are currently living together, kind of. Their on-again, off-again living situation and ongoing disputes highlight the confusion and chaos of their relationship.
So you and Miss Dallas, you live together?
We kind of, you know what I mean?
We live together, but you go back and forth.
We moved in together, we go back and forth. Like she done moved out.
You all divorced or still married?
Legally, we're still married.
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself at this point. Cedric has 3 children of his own that he has neglected to take care of her children.
No.
The court digs into the confusing pregnancy timeline, which both women use to bolster their arguments. The spotlight on Mr. Stewart's shifty behavior underscores his pivotal role in the ongoing conflict, painting a picture of a man who has stirred up significant turmoil. And now comes the moment we've all been waiting for.
The issue about the timeline, though.
Because I'm big, you know, they was going off the measurement of of my belly. I didn't start showing until I was like 8 months, really getting a round belly or whatever, but the measurements threw off, but the ultrasound, right on point.
It has been determined by this court. Stewart, you are the father.
Told you. I ain't got no reason to lie.